Well, I'm gonna actually let's see. I'll probably get in and go ahead and just get started here. So basically, we're just basically gonna look at the counts for Bitcoin and the counts for S&P. Bitcoin's mainly just kind of a revamp because of price action that we've seen right here has kind of changed our recent counts, and the S&P is going to be more of an update. But when it comes to our counts with Bitcoin, we've got three of them that we're really tracking. So the first one is that we're still looking at this as a four. The only thing that has changed about this is that originally we had this as a one, two, and then another one, two. And then we were looking for that push down right here. That didn't happen, unfortunately. We stayed stuck in this range, and we said that too. The more we stay stuck in this range right here, the more our the main counts can be invalidated. Now, we still can have this as a one into a two. This still can happen, but we're getting so close to an invalidation point. And what I mean by invalidation is that we don't want this correction right here to be exceeded in time by this correction. That's why we have this right here, because this is a lower degree than this one. So we want it to be lesser in time. Now, if it basically kind of like comes down here, dilly daddles, and then kind of comes down like this, we're still going to count this as valid. It's not going to be totally invalid. But what this does give us is says, hey, once it reaches past this point, we're going to be looking at our alternatives because it's reached that point where it gives us a red flag, like, hey, be on your toes. Something else may be happening. So like I said, if it just kind of comes right here and comes up here and then kind of comes down, we'll still count this as valid, but we're still going to be keeping an eye on this right here. So this is still the main count where we had a double zigzag right here, and then we're into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for a one, and then we're looking for a running flat for a two. So we have our A right here, then we have the B right here, and then we're looking for an impulse up for a C. Now the alternative is we are in a WXYXZ on a larger time frame. So what I mean by that is we're in a W right here. We completed an X. We came down for a Y, and we did complete the X once again with a triple zigzag. Nothing's changed with this structure. It's still a triple zigzag. It's just of a higher degree now. Now it's of a intermediate instead of a minor. Same thing though, is that we're looking for this as a running flat right here or expanded flat. It would still be the same kind of count per se, but the only difference here is that this is going to be an A into B into C instead of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the alternative, is that we're looking at this as just a larger A, B, C instead of a 1, 2, 3. That's the only difference here for this alternative. And that would complete our X, right? I mean, our Z. So we'd have another zigzag for our X, or our Z, I mean. So A, B, C to finish this right here. And usually our W's and the Y's and the Z's, usually they're all zigzags. They're usually always zigzags because they're always trying to push price down further. And that's what a WXYZ does. So the X's are more to kind of break in structure. The Y pushes back down. The X is a break in structure again, and then the Z pushes back down. And this is what we're looking at right now, this structure, this final structure. There is one more alternative. Then we'll take a look at the lower time frames for each alternative. Is this one. This is a account that I was talking about with somebody by the name of Vif, or yeah, his name is VYFF, where he was asking if this is still an A into a B into a larger C. It still is somewhat possible, but I was saying it's forced in a way because There are multiple ways you can count this. I've seen people trying to count this as a W X Y into an X into a Y, but that's just a little too complicated. But even when we get to this point, it gets more complicated. And that's why I don't like this count because it's really forced. So what I mean by complicated is that we've got multiple WXYs within a WXY here. So this is our larger W, the minute. Then we've got a smaller W within that minute. And then we have another WXY within that one. Technically speaking, it's all valid. And that's what we focus on. Once again, we focus on first thing is validity. If it's not valid, we're not even going to bother with it. Second one is probability. When we get this many complex combos within a combo, it's not really valid. And then we kind of look at the last thing, which is the right look. It doesn't have the right look internally, but if you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, like a higher time frame mindset, it does have the right look. And this being an A into a B, and then we have the final impulse up for a C. So right now, it's not very probable. It is valid, but that's why it's our second alternative because it's not that probable in right now. In right now, while we're looking at it, in hindsight, it may be, but for right now, it's just not that probable. When we take a look at what? Go ahead. I don't really have a final target for right now. Yeah. Once I do have a better idea of when we reach those zones, I will definitely do streams on target zones and the reasons for those targets, just like we'll do right here. But I don't have one for right now. Yep. So for this one, we're looking at this as an impulse up on the lower time frame for all alternative. This is a one into a two, three, running flat four, because if it goes past this point, it's going to be invalid. We do have some target zones right here. We can just look at basically just order blocks in a NPOC right there too, but also just based on fib structures and the counts of what we're looking for. We just need to finish this final impulse. So we're in a one, two, one, two, looking for that three, four, five right here. This is definitely a high probability trade. Like I said, that's all we're about. It's not about getting exact entries. It'd be beautiful if it just pops in right here and bounces away. It might take half of it, it might take the whole thing, but it's still a high probability trade. If it does start to take mm, all of it, it'll be less probable because once again, it's going to reach this point right here and it's got a small invalidation point or small validation zone. But right now, it's still looking like a valid structure because I can't get this to finish as a one, two, three, four, five right here. So I can't get this to finish as a fifth right here. I can't. I can only see it as an A, B, C for right now. We do have some divergence though. I mean, if you look, we do have some divergence forming. I don't like using wicks, but you can't argue that it made a higher high and a lower low right here. So there's potential for that. And then lastly, we haven't really put too much weight to this count. It's still very valid though. Once again, we're talking about validity is this triangle. I mean, it's got an ugly look, but technically it's still valid in a way because even though this could be a combo, it could still be a W into an X into a Y right here. So what I mean by this is W, X, Y right here. The only problem is it'll create more issues because once again we'll have a combo within a combo. So if we do get to the point, we might have to scrap this idea. But from a higher time frame perspective, it's still somewhat valid. We're just not putting any weight behind it. We're not really tracking it too much. But that being said, given with all of our counts on Bitcoin, we've been kind of saying repeatedly without a major break of structure, which we have not gotten a major break of structure. We've kind of just been stuck in this range right here. I mean, this is the kind of the range we've been stuck in for almost a month now. Until we get a major break of structure, we can't really label a account that we're confident on Bitcoin. But that's why we've been focusing on the S&P. The S&P has been tracking very well for us and it's been trading beautifully. So when we look at the S&P, we really have a count that we're confident in and we have been tracking, which has been our double zigzag, where we're in a W, X, and then another Y, where they have somewhat of the same symmetry right here. The W and the Y will have almost the same symmetry. We want to keep it as simple as possible, but there are ways where we can look at it alternatively, and we'll go over that. But those alternative ways also give us directional confluence. So I talk about directional confluence, how this could be a 1 into a 2 into a 3, or it could be an A into a B or into a C. It just depends on how high we go and how it forms. So for right now, within our WXY, we're still in this leg right here, this corrective leg before we have our final leg down. So if we look at this, we were somewhat prepared for it because at this point right here, we saw a bounce and it was a high probability trade that we're going to come back up. And we saw that. So we bounced into the zone and we were looking for a into a B into a C. And this is what we're getting right now, essentially. So there's two ways we can look at this. We can think of the four not being in, which is a little less likely. What's more likely is that the four is in, and we're about to complete our fifth, or we have completed it, and we're about to correct down right here. Because there's two ways of looking at this structure essentially. This could just be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which it looks like a very clean, beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we can try to look at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Just depends. I think it's more likely that we're completing the fifth of the A. We either will reject this completely, like we were looking for, or take it back, taking this high right here, essentially. And it does fall in line with what we're expecting right here because, we are expecting some big news to come up with November here on November 2nd. So I think that will be an excuse to correct and bring price down for a little bit. Regardless, it's a matter of how high we go. So this is less likely that the 4 is not in, and it's more likely that the 4 is in. Now, what I was talking about directional confluence is the same thing. So for right now, we're looking at this as a potential A, B, C, but this could also just be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It depends on how high this leg goes and how it forms. Once again, we were prepared for this too. Like I said, there's directional confluence. That's why this was a high probability trade. It hit the first major target that we were looking for right here, and it pretty much bounced from it. And now we're looking for the next major pivot zone, and we were looking for this. It's now just a matter of how high it'll go and how it'll form. But with discounts, we're looking at this as a WXY combo. The previous count was a WXY zigzag. This one is a WXY combo. because this one is having a major break in structure right here, because we're having a W, and instead of this being the X right here, our X is actually going to be this whole X right here. It's going to be a flat structure. So an A, B, C, a three-way move, A, B, C, a three-way move, one, two, three, four, five. So a 3, 3, 5, a flat. So this is one, like I said, 100% valid. The major rejection, the major resistance that we'd want to see is basically this zone right here. If it does break past this area right here, then we want to see it come up and reject from this area right here. Normally with this Y, like I said, within W's and Y's and Z's, they're normally zigzags or double zigzags. So we're going to be expecting the same thing with this Y. We're going to be expecting a a zigzag, or maybe even a double zigzag. That's something we could get as well. It's less likely though, because when we talk about guideline of corrections, usually they either start simple and get more complex, or they start complex and then they get more simple within their extensions. And since this was already a WXY for the W, we're going to expect a more simple ABC for the Y. And it would be the opposite. So if this was just a B C, a simple W, we would expect a complex Y. So that's what guideline of correction is going to tell us, but we can only plan for it, and then once our once we actually hit this zone, we'll see how the leg forms if we ever do hit this zone. Let me see if there's any questions. Because yeah, if anybody does have any questions, just let me know. Do you think crypto will follow the S&P if we go for the combo towards 4,500? Yeah, because once again, we have that counts on Bitcoin, and same with Ethereum. Ethereum has a stronger setup. It's prime for that setup more than most coins right now. But Ethereum could be a leading indicator for that pop up, because Ethereum could still have a C extension. But even with this, like I said, we're looking at this possibility here that where is it? Mm, okay, no, I don't think I did have that possibility. I did want to talk about that though. That was one other thing I forgot to talk about when we have with VIF. So the only way we could get this to end is if we had this as a W X into Y right here, and this was A B C, where we had a complex B, because B can be absolutely any structure except in a flat, a B cannot be a flat. It can only be part of the zigzag family. That's the only stipulation with a B. So it would be valid. And here, we can actually just build out that count here really quickly. A, B, C, because it would essentially be a C structure that we'd be looking for within an X. And what I mean by that is I would look at this as essentially something like this: W, X, Y, A, B, C, X. But more importantly, on the lower time frame, this is what I was talking about with VIF, is it just seems kind of a little bit forced, because this is just a weird looking Y leg, but it would be valid. That's the thing, is we always talk about validity. As long as it's valid, we can discuss it and entertain it and be aware of it. The only thing I don't like about this is just, I mean, It's just a little bit forced. Because even right here, we can definitely get some clean impulses down. But the one thing I don't like about this is fitting a 4 right here because you'd have to call this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't really like how short that 4 is. I think this was a triangle too. It was an A, B, C, D, E. Then we had a W, X, Y. Then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this was A, B, C, D, E. Triangle. Was this a triangle? What do we have this as? I can't remember. Pretty sure it was a triangle. Yeah, there we go. It was A, B. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think it was like this. I'm pretty sure we had this as a 5 wave move down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then this right here. So we had A, B, C. I think that was the issue I was talking about with VIF2. Does this be a W? Because this is an ABC. This would be an X. This would be another A, B, C. For a W, or sorry, that'd be a Y. For another W, break a structure for a larger X, then A, B, C. That's why I don't like having these many WXYs and then WXYs because it doesn't make it valid in a way, if that makes sense. Because once again, we're already looking at this as a WXY overall. But let's see. Let's try to entertain it. Let's see. A, B, C. W, X, Y, W, X, Y. Actually, no, this would be a, well, let's see. Yeah, no, it had to be a WXY. And then this one would just be A, B, C. Yeah, it's not very probable and doesn't really have the right look. But once again, it's still valid because when we look at combos, this is technically a combo, and we can have a double zigzag within a combo. That's the only issue is just being aware of when you can and cannot have a WXY within a WXY. But we don't like doing that, you know. But this is here. Let's see. So let's finish this out, and then so we had an impulse down, corrective move up, and then finish it with another impulse down for a C, because we had a impulse A, corrective B, impulse down for a C right here where we finished. And this is where it gets aligned with the S&P pi, is that at this point right here, where this all could just be an A it's working on into a B into a C, or could just be a larger one, two, three, four, five, just like how we're looking at with the S&P right now. Where in the S&P we're looking for a either the move to be done or just a little more push up and then come back down. And same with this. We're looking for at least this to kind of come back down a little bit, pop up, finish, and then correct down. And this does align with some of our main counts too, like with our main and alternatives that once we hit the zone, we might see a little bit of a pushback right here. So there's more directional confluence here. It's just a matter if we hold this zone as a market structure point. So this is valid. We can monitor this, and I'd definitely put this as more valid than the triangle count at least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could probably expect London to put in this low, right? I mean, or take back this zone that we're looking at right here. We can expect London to either take it or New York to take it and bring it back up here. One of the two, because we have a complex two, and then we're looking just for a simple flat for our four right now. Complex two and a simple flat. Don't like the way this three is forming though, truthfully. This does look like a impulse down. It could be a one, two, three. Mm, one, two, less. One, two, three, four. Yeah, no, this might be something else. Unless it's just doing a larger ending diagonal, like an ending C diagonal, but a wonky one. But I don't like the look of it. No, I don't like that. I don't like that idea. It doesn't look right. One, two. Unless this is just a one, a BC, a truncated C, but I hate those two, but this makes more sense. This be a 1, 2, and then this looks like a leading diagonal for 1, so 1, 2, and then we get the 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. That kind of looks a little more sense. So 1, 2, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this were to happen, it would give the S&P time to complete its 4 if its 4 was not in, just like how we're looking at how it was less likely. It would align with Bitcoin at that point, but we don't know yet. But I can't get Bitcoin to really finish here cleanly. Like I said, I just can't get to finish cleanly at this high. It did pretty much hit the target zone, right what we're looking for, essentially. It tapped it. So if all else fails, you might have to try to force something, which I really don't like doing, but that's how we try to get our counts right and stay ahead of the game is by sticking to the rules. The only thing with this is that we'd have to project a small 3. Well, not really a small 3, but a smaller 3 for this subwave, which I guess is okay because it's part of a subwave, like a smaller subwave. This is essentially what I'd be looking for right here then, is this is doing a small pop up like this and then come back down, something like that. Pie count? Yep, yep. The pie count. Where can I trade ES1, please? Yeah, we've got a ton of information on that. I can direct you to that, Wines. Yeah, the lower time frame 3 looks kind of slow and choppy. Let's see. Let's see. You said 3? Lower time frame 3. Which one were we talking about? Talking about the pie count? Is that what you're talking about, pie, or which one were you talking about? Oh, the one that I just was currently working on? Yeah, it does look kind of choppy right here. Oh, you meant lower time frame 3, like the lower time frame subway 3. That's what you meant, not the lower time frame 3 count. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it looks pretty choppy. This is the only way I could probably get it to work is, and I don't like doing truncated Cs. They are possible. I mean, they're just rare. We just don't really like planning for them and implementing into our accounts until after the fact. Like after we can confirm, like, okay, that was for sure a 2. We can call this a truncated Z at this point. It's more of like confirmation, which sucks, but we're aware of it. But yeah, truthfully, this does look like it's almost going to end either as a impulse up as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if we were looking at this as an A, B, C, because even here, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. Any way you cut it. It even has entered this zone. So even, I mean, it's just a matter. I mean, like I said, we have the divergence here. We really do. It's just a matter of forcing this count because I just really can't get this to end cleanly. It does from a perspective, like a larger perspective, it looks like it could be completed just like this. You probably even hit the 13414. Almost did. Almost did. But still, it's just a matter of trying to get this to finish as a like an impulse up. And it doesn't look like an impulse up. It looks like an A into a B into a C. I mean, unless you do a one, two, that's the thing. It just doesn't look like a clean. You can't get this finished as a clean three, a subwave three. It's just too choppy. It overlaps too much. You can't get this to finish cleanly as a three. It is a one, two, three, four, five for an A, and then A, B, C for a B, and then a one, two, three, four, five for a C. However, and that's how it fits in with our larger or one of our main counts right now. This one, the A, B, C. That's how we're looking at it. Because once again, we just can't get the finish. You said ETH count looks a bit more clean. No, 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 no. I wish. I think I what I said was it's got a better setup. So if we were to take in consideration Pi's counts, like if his original question was, do we believe that crypto will follow the S&P on how we have a major bounce up for the S&P planned essentially? Like no matter how you look at it from the S&P, we're looking at this as a impulse up or looking at it as a ABC up, you know? It's just a matter of how we're looking at it, but regardless, we're looking at a still a continuation up after a pullback. And he was asking if we expect the same with crypto, but I was just saying that Ethereum is just more primed for it. It's in a better position. I don't think I've looked at Ethereum in a while. But what I mean by that is it's got a beautiful setup right here already for it. It's got a cleaner one, two, three, four, five, a cleaner A, B, C that it did complete. Let's see, we can move this over here. It's got a better setup. It's got a better probability setup right here, is what I was trying to say. And it's got a better risk to reward ratio because just because of how high this expanded, we're going to expect some type of expansion out of this one as well. So if we were to gauge it, I mean, right away we're going to be looking for the 1, 2, 3, 6. 2,300. That's already an extra $700 right there. I mean, that's like 30% right there. 30% move, and not even because we're still expecting a little more pullback because even right here, same with the S&P, one, two, three. This looks a lot cleaner actually on Ethereum. I actually haven't taken a look at it. So now, actually, to answer your question, it does look a little bit cleaner. But let's see if we can get the finish. Let's see if we can get that to finish right there because that may be more of a leading indicator for us right there. But if it was, we'd look at this as a one, two, three, four, five. Okay, let's see. Let's take it down to the 15 minute. Let's check it on the 15 minute. Oh yeah, this looks a lot cleaner. I could work with this. Probably see one, two. We'd have to actually. It's just a matter of getting this to finish cleanly. It might be a exaggerated ending diagonal, but it's breaking a lot of rules there. The reason why I don't want to have this right here is because we'd have to force our one to be right here, and I don't like the look of that one right there. It looks a lot more probable that this was a 1 2 1 2 right here, or this is a 1 2 3 4 5. When it comes to the finishing of a move, I truthfully really would like to try to get it to end on the micro. So I'd like to have um, what I mean by this is a micro of a minuet of a minuet of a minute, because I usually like to have at least 4 degrees lining up. If you have 4 wave degrees lining up, that's great. I like to say it's like 70% probability that that's the right pivot. Like it's gonna massively pivot, and that's what you're expecting. If you've got 5 wave degrees lining up, it's like a 80% chance. If you got 6 wave degrees lining up, where you can get that fifth of a fifth of a fifth of a fifth of one of a C or whatnot to end up, and all those are ending moves, it's like a 90% chance of the pivot happening. And it happens a lot too if we can get it to end cleanly. That's how we get more confident in the count. But right now, I can only get 3 to finish, which means that it's kind of up. It's kind of iffy. It's almost like 50-50 or 60%. It's not as strong right now, but it's still stronger than not, if that makes sense. So this does look a little more cleanly now that we're talking about its musicians. What we would expect here is basically just a pop down to this zone, which is a wide zone, but usually 100% of the time it's going to hit the 382. Rarely does it only hit the 236. We don't really usually use the 236 for twos, but we always can expect at least the 382. And 75% of the time, it's going to hit this zone right here. It's about a 15% chance of it hitting this zone right here. So we're looking for 1 2 3 4 5, A, B, C. 1 2 3 4 5. Probably right here to this golden pocket zone. It'd be a nice break, a nice test of market structure as well, because we've got some resistance right here. So we basically have, resistance almost turning into support right here. Nice fat inefficiency right here. I'm sure you could probably find an order block somewhere around here, maybe even around this area. Probably even a point of control right here at this point right here, down to the 6 6. So I mean, I'd be waiting for this too. I'd be waiting for this to finish impulsing down right here, and then I'd be looking for an entry right here to get this short down, and then I'd be waiting for this long to get the long up. Yeah, now that we look at this, I might have to take another closer look at Ethereum. Now that Ethereum looks more cleaner, I might have to start trading Ethereum over S&P now, and maybe even Bitcoin. Like I said, we've kind of put Bitcoin on the back burner and put S&P in the front view, but we might have to shuffle the pans around a little bit. We might have to throw Ethereum in in the front. Does the way forward on Ethereum not look a little short in comparison with the two? This was what I was imagining with Ethereum. Let's see. One, two. So you're looking at this on the hourly. You're looking at this as one, two, one, two. I don't mind it because the reason why I don't mind it is because this definitely looks like a this looks like a flat, and this just looks like a sharp zigzag. So when you look at those structures, we got a shallow, long, flat. So let's list out alternation here. So shallow, that's what we got here. It's long in time, and it's considered more intricate because it's a flat structure. It's not more complex. Complexity is if it's a combo. So if it's simple, it's just normal ABC. If it's complex, then that's a WXY. And then up here, if you look at this one is sharp, it's shorter in time, and less intricate, if that makes sense right there. So even in terms of alteration, it's got 3 out of the 4 going for it. We usually try to look for at least 1, but it's got 3 out of the 4. So I honestly, even more the more we talk about this, the more I'm getting more confident in this count, the more it looks more clean. And I'm sure we could probably find some divergence just to solidify it too. At least for this 3 we can. We can definitely call that the end of a 3 right there because it's just the divergence is super clear right there. Same with this as well. We got more divergence right here. RSI made another lower low or higher low after price made our higher high right here. It may be a little more extended, but it's still divergence right there. This is a running flat for a B. Yeah, this looks good. Same thing with Bitcoin. We're just waiting for more acceleration down. This one actually kind of does look more like a turning into a leading diagonal, like how we were kind of thinking on Bitcoin. I could actually see this forming more on Ethereum, mainly just because of how this leg is already formed. Right now, it looks like a ABC right here. This looks like an ABC. Well, this right here, ABC, that part right there. ABC, but this is getting a little extended in price too. So let's see. Can guarantee it's probably extended to one probably. Yeah. I mean, if it essentially bounces from right there and comes up, I'm not going to call it invalid, but that's where we get kind of clues or red flags that hey, this might not be right. This may not be it. It might even just be something else. So two separate issues. With Bitcoin, we cannot get this to finish cleanly, and we can get this to start cleanly. With Ethereum, we can get it to end cleanly, and we cannot get it to start cleanly. That's funny. Unless, like I said, hmm, we could look at this as A, B, C, just like how we are with Bitcoin. Maybe the 4 isn't in yet, but even if we were to entertain that, A, B, no matter what, we still have to try to count this as a C. Maybe it could be an ending diagonal C for running flat, basically an A, B running flat, just like with Bitcoin. That's pretty much the only thing I could see. That makes a little bit more sense, just because we can't get this to start cleanly. I mean, it could be a leading diagonal, that's for sure. It's possible. We just have to wait. So that's usually sometimes why I don't trade the initial move. Sometimes I'll wait for the reactions when I'm not too confident. I'm not, and if I didn't get a great entry, because if I got one of these entries up here, I would just hold it. I would just hold it because I've got a great entry. There's nothing wrong with just waiting it out because I've got such a great entry. And if anything, we could put a trailing stop loss on it if needed. But since I didn't get that entry and I wasn't trading at the time, I'm just gonna wait for this to unfold, and wait for the reaction, or trade the reaction better. But I can definitely see this forming as, like I said, a diagonal either for a C or for a one. And unfortunately, that's not great directional confluence. And the reason why I say that is because it'd have a break of structure. Because if it was a C, it'd pop up. If it was a one, it wouldn't pop up there to do this. So instead of directional confluence, like A, a B, and a C, a one, a two, and a three, it's not good directional confluence. It may be helping us. The pattern may be helping us with one of the counts, but it's not directional confluence, unfortunately. So we'll just have to monitor it here and see how it plays. Let's see. Other TA wise, it does look very nice for a top on ETH. Elliott Wave knowledge is basic, so good to double check with you. Oh yeah, man, definitely. Feel free to always shout out any Elliott Wave questions. Dow and Nasdaq both look quite different from S&P. Yeah, I haven't really been following the Dow or Nasdaq too much lately. That does look a lot different. This one looks a lot more impulsive. It definitely looks like a one, two, three, four, five. So this would lean more with our idea with the four not being in with the S&P, and the Nasdaq would lean more into the idea that I think we did complete it, where this was a one, two, three, four. We're about to complete that final push up. So even so, it just depends. With the Nasdaq, we may have an extended fifth. With the Dow, we just look for a normal fifth because we still have yet to complete it. Yeah, they do look very different. Say S&P is more in line with the Nasdaq. Let me see. Yeah, Nasdaq ripped. It wouldn't have been as great or as a trade as a S&P because it would have been hard. You would have been catching it with the S&P. We were able to plan for it because that with that one that we had, like right here, the 1-2 was a lot more cleaner setup. And even again, we had another potential 1-2 setup anyway, so the bias was still up, so we could still hold this position that we had. But with the Nasdaq, I mean with the Dow, it was just such shallow moves, shallow retracements up. It would have been hard to kind of gauge this one. So I'm happy that was looking at the S&P and not the Dow at that time. But yeah, you're right; they are very different. The Dow's got a lot more strength to it right now. But even from that perspective, it's still the same counts essentially. Same counts as S&P. Nothing's really changed. Thanks a lot. Can't wait to watch the rest of the stream. So I couldn't attend the whole session. Oh yeah, no problem, man. I basically kind of want to just try up here and do some updates, and then if anybody does have any questions, go over them too. And unfortunately, we're just kind of stuck in limbo with Bitcoin, where we can't really do much target zones or anything like that. But with the S&P, we're definitely aware of what we're expecting, and that's the thing. If it's not clear, we're not going to trade it. There's nothing wrong with sitting out of the market, or looking for a different asset that is more clean to trade. That's what we should do as traders. We're gonna follow the money, follow the best trade setups. Let's see. This is something I was discussing yesterday in ETH. There are some structural divergences. Daily bearish divergence. I was around to catch short. That being said, how would you feel about this being a partner leg to begin another leg down? Overall, higher time frame leading diagonal idea from all-time high. How would you feel about this being a partner leg to begin another leg down? Hmm. How would you feel about this leg? So, which leg are you talking about? Are you talking about this leg right here, or just this leg? Overall move being that. Oh yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, let me see here. So you're looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 5. Is that what? Or you're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, no, I see that. I see that. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, no, we're definitely aware of it. It's just something that we can't confirm until we get to basically this time and price. Because what we're looking for that counts is kind of the same thing with Bitcoin, how we're aware of it. Let's see, right here, this one. Is that what you're talking about? Kind of like this? Depending on how low we go, we were looking at this as a impulse down for 5 for an A, and then we'd have a bounce up for a B right here. But like I said, we won't really know until we get to this point and how this leg forms. If this leg forms like this, we'll be looking at something different. But if it forms like this, we'll be looking at discount essentially. But now that we're here, let's see. We'd have to see this as a, because we can get this as an impulse down. We can definitely get that. But now it's a matter of trying to get this to finish as, we might have this as a 1-2-1-2 right here if we were looking at this count. So essentially, now for a diagonal, I'd really want to see the this 4 overlap the 1, Hank, and that's the reason why I don't have as a diagonal per se. What we would potentially maybe is if this was a, ah man, maybe that'd be, no, even then I can't see that. Yeah, this would really have to, it'd be hmm, yeah, that'd be rough because the only way I could see this as a diagonal is it had to be expanding diagonal, and we'd almost have to project this as a truncated one because I'd want to see this pop up, break this one, so that way we do can classify it as a diagonal. But at this point, it's already so extreme where the trend lines are already so extreme and obtuse that there's no way it would ever meet this lower trend line. It would have to go to zero. So, and the only thing I don't like about this is that when it comes to leading diagonals for A's or for ones, they can't be truncated. Usually for ending diagonals, that's okay, but this is what I was looking at right here. Such an idea seems to be fitting also with regards to upcoming midterm elections coming on November 8th. Yeah, we've got some stuff coming up next week and stuff like that. We've got some news coming up here, like on multiple faucets, if you will. But same with like I said, with Bitcoin, we have this count that we're also aware. Let's see. Here it is. Where we're saying that we're pretty much right here or right here. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have yet to complete this A. Yeah, I'm gonna mute you. But yeah, Hank, no, we're fully aware of it. It's once again, it's something that we can't. It's something we're aware of. We can plan for it, but we're not gonna put too much weight to it right now because it's just assuming a lot right now in this time. Completely valid. There's nothing wrong with it. It's completely valid. It's a high probability. It's got the right look. It's just a matter of the perception in time right now versus what it can do in time. Because this is assuming a lot that can happen when we should be try to be focused more on midterm price action. This is extremely long term price action. But I'm with you, man. I think it's 100% valid concept. Does anybody else have any questions? Any other ones? Any quick hitters or any like any charts you want me to take a look at real quick on what you think? Oh, what? Okay. I wouldn't take it yet because we're not expecting it yet, right? Um, the Yeah, because we're not expecting we're not expecting the push that you're expecting yet. We're only expecting a minor correction pushback and then another continuation up. I would only take that call spread unless we were at the point where we completed like where we already completed the move up our ABC, because we're looking for an ABC up. We're still looking for um this zone up here where this is basically just a, B, C. That's what we're looking for. Once we hit this area, yeah, I'd be looking for that all day. If you were to take it right now, it nothing wrong with taking a short, taking it for this amount. There's nothing wrong with it, but just don't expect too much out of it. You don't know how, 'cause and then especially once it gets to this point and it comes up like this and comes back down, you might even get you might get spooked out right here at this point, and you might not even hold for this. So I wouldn't wait until we have a higher probability trade setup. So this isn't a high probability trade setup yet, unless you were to force this as a WXY right here, and the B's already done, which has a lot of large implications, and you're forcing a lot. And that's not what we're about. We're here to take the high probability trades. So I wouldn't take that yet personally, but that's definitely not financial advice. I see you typing, William. I'll give you some time. I'm struggling to see an impulse on Nasdaq. Let's take a look at it again. 1, 2. Yeah, the only problem is essentially this leg right here. So if we were to, unless unless you move the two over like it was a running flat, it just doesn't look very clean right here. It could have been expand. No, that can't be. It doesn't look like a clean. Because otherwise we could do essentially, but hmm, the issue with it is basically this structure right here. This is what's throwing the whole thing off. So we got an impulse up here, impulse up here, correction down right here. One, You might have to. This doesn't look right though. It's not valid, I don't think. Yeah, it's not valid. On this one, we'd have to maybe see this as this one's tricky. It might even just be a double zigzag. But still we have the same issue right here. Unless this was a W X Y. But have to see this. So A B C. Just doesn't. That's really the only way I probably could. But even then, it doesn't really fit into our larger picture. So one, two, or one, unless this was a. No, it just doesn't look right. It can't. I'm trying to see if this would be a W X Y, but this looks too impulsive to be a W right here. Yeah, this one's tough. I might have to take a little more time on this one and take a look at its higher time frame count and take that into consideration. But this one is not looking. It's probably more likely that this was A B. We're about to complete a C, or we have completed the C. Yeah, William, I'd have to spend a little more time on this actually, but I'd say it's more likely that this is not impulsive like you're suggesting, and that this is corrective. But what it can be is it could possibly fit into the larger pattern by having a more severe drawback in the S&P. So this could actually just be the part of a flat structure forming, because we can have this is a three-way move. It's a WXY. We can have that for an A for a flat. But now we're expecting some pretty extreme extreme pull downs. So this will just come back a lot farther than the S&P and the Dow, because the Dow did extend up pretty high. I feel like the Dow will have a lot more strength with this pullback. It'll hold a lot better. And then same with the Dow and the S&P, we still expect another push up. But instead of it being a three-way move like on the S&P and the Dow, we'll expect a five-way move up to finish a 3-3-3-5 for a flat. It's probably the only way I could see this. I don't think this C leg is done yet. I think it does have a little bit more of a push up. Nice. Yeah, I was thinking a top structure just short before Tuesday rate increase. Yeah, I'm looking for that Tuesday fuckery as well. Is basically what we look for. Let me see. We'll answer a little more questions here. Are you going to update your altcoin counts over the week? Yeah, I'll try to update them. Yeah, it's a hard balance, when you're trying to keep your counts updated, but like if you're not really trading it and you're in other trades and you're confident in those trades, there's no reason to kind of like be bouncing around. I rather focus on executing those trades and managing my risk better. It's all about the time you put into this. But yeah, I definitely always try to at least update my counts for other assets, and I'll make a mental note to get that done this week. But I'll definitely update my altcoin counts. We could take a look at Link real quick though. Let's take a look at it quickly. This is probably the last one I'll take a look at. Let's see what we're looking at Link. So we're still looking at this as a B C D E X 1 2 1 2. It's getting a little more extended in time for this to be 1 2 1 2 now, because this correction has well exceeded this correction that's forming right now. So let's see. Back to the drawing board with Link. Let's see. Could be a expanding diagonal. I just hate expanding diagonals. They just very rarely happen. You don't like projecting rare things. You should be aware of them, but sometimes sometimes it's all it's there, but it's pretty close to validation. But we have a 5 3 5 3 then a 5. But the only thing is like I said, we don't like these being truncated. But it would still bring us down to what we're expecting right here. So that's not too bad actually. There is some beauty in that at least. It still leads us to where we expect. W X Y. This WXY can have a flat like structure. It can have that, but it cannot be a flat. We can't have flats within diagonals. So it can be a flat structure, a combo. We normally like to only see these as zigzags, but when it comes to altcoins, I will allow a combo. A, B, C. It's just a matter of this is done or not. So let's see if we can get it to finish cleanly. I feel like we could. It looks pretty clean. Looks like a clean 1 2 3 4 5 right here. I'd be happy with that. I'd be looking for. We probably already have an OTE set up right now. Right there. Boom. Probably extend further down. If I were to take this trade, I'd probably go for the symmetrical swing. Take 50% there and literally just trailing stop loss the rest. Let me see. This doesn't look very clean though. That's the issue for this one right here. Unless that, well, no, it doesn't look like a diagonal. That's too extended for a B of a flat right there. A B C, A B C, A. Guaranteed to hit the two. Probably hit the two. Yeah, I almost hit the two. Yeah, it can't be. Can't be an X. It can't be B right here. One, two. Well, one, two, three, four, five. Okay. Okay. Happy with it. I can make that work. One, two, one, two, three, four, five, three, four, five, two, three, four, five. Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy with this. I think I might, I might take this. I might not. I don't. The reason why I don't like this is because it just kind of contradicts all of our all of our other counts. But sometimes altcoins don't follow the herd. Sometimes altcoins will do their own thing, just like how Doge just went 60% the other day. I mean, I guess that was obviously due to Elon getting Twitter. I guess that was kind of expected. But point being is that altcoins will do their own thing, but sometimes it's not as clear or high probability setup as you would expect. And once again, I wouldn't want to put too much weight behind this one because I just don't like expanding diagonals really. But that's kind of the only way I really would be able to see this truthfully. I mean, I don't think I could see it as anything else, unless you were to call this a truncated fifth, which I think that's I think that's my absolute last case scenario. And once again, when it comes to truncations in general, you can't really eh, you can't confirm it until after the fact, like after the fact, you know. So that's why I hate truncations, especially truncated fifths. So that might be something you could think about. But even then, it still doesn't look as clean because let's say we have a one, two. Well, let's see, one, two. Yeah, it still doesn't look as clean because it just comes back into this price territory of one right here. This probably is the only way I could see it right now, unless we try to take a look at it from the higher time frame and see what else we could think. See what else we could see. There's really nothing else though. It does look like a long contracting. Yeah, that's all I got for Link right now, honestly. Link's a hard one. Same with XRP. God, XRP is just a nightmare. Link's getting there. Link's getting to that same point. But yeah, I'll definitely update my altcoin counts. At least ADA, BNB, Dot, Matic, Sushi, Avax, Mana, Sol. I've been putting XRP out for a while. I might have to just jump in there. But definitely ETH too. Now that ETH's looking more clean, I'm definitely gonna start taking a look at ETH again and start looking at some more setups for ETH. Yeah, no problem, MT. Anybody else got any quick questions real quick? I think that's it for me. Oh yeah, no problem, musicians. You got it, Will. All right, guys. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there. But once again, you're always welcome to just ask me any questions. I'm always happy to answer any questions too, either it be publicly or privately. But yeah, feel free to always reach out to me. But hope you guys have a good day. Catch you later.